and welcome to the Culinary Journey. Today we're going to talk about fresh foods from the garden, what's ready now for the first summer harvest. And there are a lot of fruits and vegetables. And with me today to talk about all this wonderful abundance is Marion on the Move. Now, if you haven't seen Marion on the Move, you can find her. Facebook, is it? She's on Facebook, and she does little promos for us.
And on Bella Vista Community TV.
Yes.
Website as well.
Yeah.
But it'll start on Facebook.
She also gardens, and I think a lot of us here do, even though we live on rocks, we find a way to make it happen.
Yes, but you have to know this. I joined the garden club.
Good for you.
I love the garden club, but they are light years ahead of me. And this is the first year I ever personally did a vegetable garden with the help of dear friends.
Very good. Well, I know we've got tomatoes, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, carrots, onions, garlic is done, cucumbers. I think that's all.
That's enough, don't you think?
Yeah, I do.
It's bigger than my garden.
Well, and a lot of it is in pots because our two raised beds aren't big enough. I mean, they're about this size, maybe a little smaller. So to try and pack everything in, you can't. But I have all these beautiful pots that we have around with huge tomatoes and
I've seen your
cucumbers.
place. It is beautiful. It isn't just a garden of wealth of vegetables. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I have to get everything, got to do my canning, and I actually have already started. I did fiery peach salsa, which I should have brought some today. I didn't think about it.
I'll remind you next time.
Yes, because it's really good. Interesting thing, when you do a peach salsa, you actually want firm peaches. You don't want them fully ripe.
I wouldn't know that because I don't do preserves, but I appreciate them.
Yeah, but it turned out great. It did have to sit for a couple weeks to really develop its flavor because it has jalapenos in it. I didn't use a whole habanero. I mean, those are really hot.
Yeah.
But, that's the other thing we have, of course, are jalapenos, serranos, and then all the herbs.
And what herbs do you put in?
I have chives, and thus the chive pesto.
I can smell this. My
Basil.
mouth is watering for it.
I have chives, I have basil, I have marjoram, I have tarragon, did I say thyme? Thyme, rosemary, and sage, tarragon. What else did?
Dittany, that new
Yes, dittany that JB gave me.
What's it called?
And it is dittany.
I have never heard of that.
It's spicy. I mean, it has a very different flavor.
And which one has that?
None of them yet,
Okay.
because this was from canning from last year.
Uh-huh.
The chive pesto is fresh, and the basil pesto I did from my basil last year.
Okay.
So they've been canned. They're safe to eat.
This is good. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, one of the things, I can, but I also ferment. My favorite fermented food is green peppers. They taste like pickles when they're done.
I have never had fermented bell pepper. That would be interesting.
They are very, very good. I can't, and of course there's many different ways you can can them with onions and do all kinds of things. But the one thing, if you are going to can or preserve, you want to have fruits and vegetables at their peak. And I noticed, I watched for sales because last year corn never got down to 25 cents an ear. And I know the lowest price I've seen so far this year is 33. So I did grab a bunch and canned some corn with Mexican corn.
I like that. And tell me how you do your Mexican corn.
I used chicken stock, and it was the corn, and slice it, take the corn off the cob, and then it had green pepper, but I also put in jalapeno just to give it a little more flavor. And then there was one other thing in there.
Just a little heat.
Just a little bit. And it was actually, it's in my little canning book here, which Ball has the really huge canning book. I have just the little one. There's more than enough in there to can. I mean, I could never do everything in there. But I did notice a roasted tomato marinara.
Oh, that makes a marinara much more interesting than the normal one. I like that.
And do you, you haven't done canning, but the easiest way to skin a tomato is cut them in half, and sometimes I take the cores out, put them on a rimmed baking sheet, a little salt and pepper, throw them in the oven and roast them. Take them out, let them cool, skins come right off. Then you can chop them up and put them in the pot to make salsa. Or now, if you're going to do the marinara, you actually roast the tomatoes with onions. Doesn't that sound delightful?
I think
we're going to be hungry.
I think
after
I want
this.
to come home to your kitchen and just enjoy the moments with you. And I'll do chop chop.
Okay,
I'll earn my keep.
Because that's the hardest part. That's the most time consuming. But, you know, the abundance that's in the garden now, even these beautiful serranos, which if you love, oh my gosh, we get tons of serranos and jalapenos. And I think we have 12 tomato plants. So I'll have lots of salsa, tomato sauce, and everything else this year. The other thing, this is the first time I ever tried cabbage. So I finally cut it. I actually planted it in March, but we had such a weird spring that it was not doing a whole lot.
That is such a beautiful piece of produce. I didn't think it was real sitting out here.
Well, it is real, and the garden show was on right before this. And I asked the ladies, I said, what's wrong with my cabbage? And they said, well, it looks perfect. I said, well, I didn't know because I've never grown it, so I didn't know when it's fully ripe. She goes, well, it's still green. And so I do intend to make sauerkraut. And if you've never tried your own canned sauerkraut, it is the best. And you can put whatever herbs you want in, like whether you want to do caraway or fennel. I love fennel. Thyme, you know, whatever. You just have fun with it and add. And it takes 2 ingredients, cabbage and salt in your hands.
That's it?
That's it. Chop it down, put it in your big bowl, put salt on it and massage it in. You let it sit for 30 minutes, you massage it. It creates its own brine. So you do not prepare a separate brine or even vinegar.
So it doesn't have to ferment or anything.
It ferments, it will for a couple weeks. You can let it, you want it in a cool, dark space while it's fermenting. You want to burp it every day. You know, just let those gases out. And a lot of times sauerkraut, you might let it go for...
hold it. It's such a beautiful, it really is a beautiful piece. Look at this, all the leaves, how they just fold over. Nature's wonderful, but it's perfect. There isn't one oh, I found a little hole. But other than that imperfection, that makes it real. It's so beautiful.
Wouldn't it be great lined on a platter with a wonderful appetizer or a meat dish or anything? Yeah, these leaves are pretty nice. I have 5 more at home. Not quite ready yet, but I have 5 more cabbages. The other thing I did, and this is actually the second time, is Brussels sprouts.
I have seen them growing in a field. They are very unique and stand out.
Yeah, they just go straight up, and all of a sudden, all these little nubs are coming up, and amazing. And they are the sweetest. Last year, I just took them off the stem and popped them in my mouth. I mean, just like you do tomatoes. They were so good.
I never thought of that.
Well,
Though I do like Brussels sprouts.
I wanted to try it, so I did.
Fresh, crisp.
Oh, yeah, really, really good. And then, of course, you can do whatever you want. I did 6 plants, and they're coming along. You know, the ones on the bottom are getting almost there.
And you have those in pots?
Those are in raised beds. One's in a pot, and the rest are in raised beds. My cucumbers are in a pot, and we've done cucumbers in pots for 6 years since we've been down here, actually. No, not the first 2 years, because we redid the yard after that. So, you know, we're landscaped and...
You've inspired me. I have empty pots.
Oh,
Next year.
Can't have any empty pots. Got to fill them up. Put goodness into them.
I will. I used to have flowers. I think I'm going to do it. Some of these things you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, and I have some flowers, you know, but mainly we're into the garden. We did. But my husband was born on a farm. He grew up in Northwest Iowa, where, you know, they had just have such beautiful black soil or dirt, whatever you want to call it. So it's in his heart. Same thing, my dad was born and raised on a farm till he was 13 and then moved to Chicago. But that never left him. So I think out of the 9 brothers and sisters that I have, I'm the biggest gardener.
Well, I was fortunate to get somebody in the spring come visit who came from farm background and spotted my weed-infested raised, but he's, what are you doing with that? And I said, I've never done anything with it. And he said, I can turn the soil for you and get it started. And he did, and I went out there and did the clumping of the soil, and it inspired me. So now I have a vegetable garden with the help of JB, who came by and said, this is what you need to do. And now I have summer squash. Every day I watch the big blossom, so I'm getting ready to have harvests hopefully soon.
Well, and you were talking about blossoms earlier, what you do with them.
Yes, well, I have never done it, but my husband did it when he grew. He was the he was the one that did all the vegetable gardening. And he took the buds, after we had plenty of summer squash, he would take some of the flower buds and tuck cheese in them and then saute them in a pan. And they were really delicious, nothing fancy, just the cheese and the blossoms, and it was beautiful, yeah.
So many of our flowers and blossoms are edible.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of people just don't even think about it.
No.
But, you know, earlier in the spring season, I did the cookies with edible pansies. Well, pansies are edible.
Yeah.
But you put egg wash and then sugar, put your pansy on, and sugar it again.
Yep,
They
we
were
get
pretty
it in
good.
fancy restaurants with our
Yes.
desserts.
They're very expensive. So really, better to just buy your pansies, clean them really good, because they're like $50 for, yeah, I mean, you get a bunch of them, but
I would buy
I'm
the
like-
package of seeds.
that too. Oh, yes, seeds. I know I never started anything. Oh, no, I take that back. I did start my beets from seeds and radishes.
They grow fast, the radishes.
Yes, really fast and really good. So I made a couple different, what do I want to call it? Condiment type radish dish. One is like a lime pickled radish to use on sandwiches or throw on a salad.
You must throw really good dinner parties.
When we do a party, it's usually pretty good. Oh, you've been there in the morning.
I did the morning one with
Yeah.
that was excellent.
Would be a lot more fun to do. Dinner's a lot more fun because I think you can do a lot for morning, but for dinner, you can get everybody involved around the island and
That's my favorite part. That is,
Just-
yeah.
have some fun with it.
Yeah, the
Oh, and
community.
everybody's different ideas, you know, putting them together. You know, and the other thing, you always have to be careful. We have one friend who doesn't eat any seafood or fish. And of course, all the rest of us love shrimp and we want to have a shrimp cocktail. Or it's like, too bad, you don't get any.
All the more for me.
Well, exactly. Which, you know, good. Makes it really great. What else is going on in the garden?
Well, tell us what's in your different pestos, because there's
Okay.
they're distinctly different, and then you have the tomatoes going on here.
Yes, the tomatoes are bruschetta. And that recipe, P.L. and Smith, this book right up here, Seasonal Recipes from the Garden, he has 3 different recipes. So I made them and froze them. I didn't can them. I actually put them in containers and then put them in our deep freeze downstairs. And it's really good. But all 3 recipes sounded delightful. And I should have looked it up, but I didn't think about it.
Well, next time you're on a mission to do all of this, I want to come over, and I'll promise I'll do the chop and learn from you, because this is wonderful.
Okay, and the basil pesto is just a basic, but what I do when I make pesto, I might do 2 cups of basil, but 1 of flat leaf parsley, or 2 of flat leaf parsley, because the basil by itself I don't like, you know, and then of course your Parmesan cheese.
I didn't know that went in there. Parmesan cheese.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
and then either walnuts or this chive pesto has almonds. But I think I have walnuts in here, and then, of course, your olive oil. You just it's the simplest thing in the world to make. The hardest thing, okay, the chive pesto. I just found this one this year. I was watching Kevin Lee Jacobs on YouTube, and this is a man he's actually a recipe creator, but does dinner parties. So I think we're going to take a little break. When we come back, we'll talk about that, the chive pesto, and fruit and flour.
Let's not forget dessert.
No, we got to have dessert.
Experience the Macadoodle's difference. Shop leisurely in our friendly and spacious store 7 days a week. Browse our wine cellar. We offer the top labels and hot new wines. Wide aisles, hardwood floors, and easy-to-find, well-lit displays make shopping enjoyable. Customers are our #1 priority. If you can't find something, our courteous staff will assist you and we'll even help you to your car with your purchase. World-class customer service. Largest and best selection in the area. Low prices. Experience the Macadoodle's difference today.
And welcome back. We are going to talk about this chive pesto. Okay. Like I was saying, Kevin Lee Jacobs on YouTube is a recipe creator. And he does a lot of very simple things, also a big gardener. And he was doing this for one of his dinner parties. So I thought, okay, and he said not to use garlic chives. Well, I think these are garlic chives.
Garlic is overpowering. And
It
that's
is.
why I was glad you didn't put garlic. I love garlic. I was glad you didn't put
Yes,
garlic.
because normally you do put it in pesto. But no garlic and no salt. It was just the chives, cut them up, throw them in the food processor, almonds, and then your Parmesan cheese, whir it up, and then add your olive oil. And you have a nice spreadable pesto. So what I didn't do with this one, and I didn't think of it until 3 o'clock this morning, I was not going to go out and pick parsley at that time.
You were thinking at 3 o'clock this morning?
Don't ask me why. Yeah, my brain doesn't stop, like yours. Anyway, if I would have mixed the parsley in with this, which I'm going to do when I get home, it will cut that a lot and probably give it a really nice, maybe a hint of a sweetness. Yeah, so I'll bring some next week. I
Good,
still have lots of chives.
I'll be here.
But you can make pesto out of anything. I mean, it's amazing.
So pesto, that's Italian.
Uh-huh.
And now you say you can make pesto out of anything. Makes me think, what does pesto mean?
I don't know.
Okay, we'll move on.
All I know is that it's just...
You're so knowledgeable. I thought you'd know.
We could look it up, but my iPad's not here. And you can make it spreadable or make it a sauce. So I would guess it's just a mixture of fresh vegetables and whatever. I don't know. Anyway, always great this time of year. Earlier, I did make cilantro pesto when I had tons of cilantro. That was really good. I think that was my favorite. And I've also made arugula pesto, and that's very good.
And you've grown the cilantro to have the tons and the arugula to have it.
The arugula I usually buy. That's, depending on if the deer are coming down into the yard.
They think salad bar.
They think it's for them. Well, no, it's not. You little boogers. Anyway, yeah, so I would recommend definitely adding parsley to the chive pesto. But like I said, I add it to all my pestos. And then we haven't talked about fruits yet.
And you grow fruit too.
I don't grow the fruit. No.
Okay.
Farmers markets are for fruit.
You're not as perfect as I thought you were.
Maybe that's a good thing. Turnbuckle Farm, which I do like, and she is one of our sponsors, right now has blackberries. And on their food truck, which they now have, it's open Tuesday through Saturday from 7:30 to 3. And I talked to the chef yesterday. He's doing a blackberry salad for lunch, which sounds delightful. So I saw, we've got some pictures of Turnbuckle Farm. The first one, and where you see that big, I'm going to call it a net, that's all the tomatoes and zucchini are in there. I think there were also some cucumbers. And then it shows, and it's hard to see, way at the end of that row is a young man picking kale that was also for the salad. She's got Swiss chard. There was dill. She still has some dill going, which usually this time of year it gets tough when it starts getting a little warmer. And you almost have to plant it every couple weeks to have it through the season. And then she, of course, has flowers and some other tall greens, which I didn't walk all the way down there to see what they were. So anyway, you know, having that abundance so close, and then she has the farm stand, which is open every day of the year. So, and it's the honor system. You go in, select what you want. She has farm fresh eggs, pasture eggs, which are the best. She has this fabulous flour. And it actually is from Montana. It's a whole wheat flour, prairie gold wheat. And it is wonderful. In some restaurants, or recipes, what I do is I'll take 1 cup of wheat flour and mix it with my all-purpose flour for a different texture and flavor. And that is what I did with the blueberry muffins. And you can see there's only a couple blueberry muffins left, but her blueberries were so big and so sweet. The other thing I found out is right now blueberries are the sweetest because they're getting to the end of their season.
I have to have some.
Well, of course.
They are big. And is it just blueberries that's in here?
Yeah, just blueberries.
Oh my goodness.
Well, now this is blackberry almond shortbread.
That's what I thought. I thought I saw blackberries in there.
Yes.
Oh, they're so crumbly.
Yes,
And that's their flour.
I'm going to start half of it. I'm going to start putting an egg yolk, like I do with my spritz cookies, because that holds it together better. It's really good, isn't it?
Where's a glass of milk?
Yeah, I haven't made this blackberry recipe is from 2004, Martha Stewart Living.
Of course. Thank you, Martha.
Yeah, and I've hung on to it, but I make it. I have 3 favorite blackberry recipes, and that's this one, then another one that's a cobbler. It's delightful.
The flavors. There's a nut. Is there a nut in there?
Yes, almond.
That's
so what you do, you know, of course you have your butter and sugar, unsalted butter.
And it's not
it's confectioner's sugar.
That's why. It's not super sweet. Very, very European, which I like. Very soft sweetness to it.
Yeah, those, good. So it uses confectioner's sugar. And then, let's see, the sugar. Oh, the almonds. Blanched almonds. And you roast them in the oven until they get golden brown for about 15 minutes. You know, and I turn them, and then you let them cool and put them in the processor, make them really fine, and mix it into your flour mixture. And then what you do is you take a cup of the dough and you set it aside. That's going to become your topping. The rest of it you put in a 9x13. I think I'm going to use a smaller pan going forward too. And press it down in there, but you butter your pan, line it with parchment, and butter the parchment.
And is that the way so you don't burn the bottom? Because I
Yes.
hear about putting butter down and you end up burning the bottom.
Yeah.
You know all the tricks.
Well, I just watch and listen. I can't help it, you know. And one day I was sitting in the living room, and I think I probably had on YouTube and was going through a magazine or a book, and I don't know why we started talking about reading. My husband says, "You read a lot." And I said, "No, I really don't." He goes, "I don't think you realize how much you read."
I think that was a compliment.
Well, you never know with him. No, he didn't say that. Yes, but I bury myself in books and TV when I'm not cleaning house or cooking or canning or whatever else I have to do, or preparing for a show.
Well, it really shows
Well,
from all the
thank you.
knowledge that you bring to our shows.
You know, it's just a lot of fun. And it's something, when we first got married 40 years ago, Terry did a lot of the cooking because I would be in the kitchen, I'm putting things together and I'm cooking away. And here he comes, walking behind me, and I just walked out of the kitchen.
No.
Yeah, so I didn't cook. I cooked very little for many years.
Did he get? He got it after
He
many
didn't-
years.
So he got tired of doing it. Is that he's like, okay, I've had enough of this. And my work schedule changed and was a little easier, so I started doing a lot more cooking and
Well,
recipes.
I can always tell when you bring these things into the studio to share with all of us how much you are filled with joy of doing it. It isn't labor, and I think we all appreciate that. And then people get to see it on the show and
It's
be
a
able to
bribe.
recreate it for themselves.
It's a pride. Make sure they do a good job for us. That's all. No, I really do enjoy it, and I think they enjoy it too. You know, but it's just a little thank you, something that I can do. The other thing is, Terry will not eat any of this.
Because
He's just, it's not the kind of sweet he likes. Now, he'll eat a brownie, he'll eat a chocolate chip cookie, but he'll go for this before he goes for that.
savory is my first choice.
Mine
but
too.
When you have a dessert that I've never had before and it isn't super sweet, it gets a bonus from me. Yeah, so you did it.
I'm with you. So, you know, you get your dough down at the bottom of the pan, and you mix the raspberries. You've got 4 cups of raspberries, or blackberries, I'm sorry. I'll get the right name one of these days. The blackberries, but you mix it with the peel from a grated orange. So you have the blackberries with just a subtle hint of orange, and you spread that all over. And then the dough that you saved, you just crumble on top, throw it in the oven.
Citrus is always a surprise. It pops things out.
It really
Yeah.
does. It makes, there's a certain brightness or freshness that comes when you add citrus to recipes. So yeah, I get it. Do you make a lot of your own homemade dressings?
I do. I improvise. I have no recipes for them. I just do what I feel like a creamy one. I'll start with mayonnaise or sour cream or combine the two. And I have fresh herbs, but a lot of times I just use what's in the jars. My 2 favorite herbs that I grow are rosemary and basil. So it's whatever my mood is and I inspire it. I don't keep bottled dressing in the house because I can taste the chemicals in it. And so I appreciate the freshness of a dressing that's homemade. Yeah.
It's, you know, such a big difference. Terry hasn't been feeling well this week, and so I was making soup for him, you know, so I had some chicken soup and I made it, and then he said, I want some tomato soup. I looked at him, I said, do you want canned or, I mean, like Campbell's canned or real tomato soup? And
You
he goes,
really
I
had to
want the
ask.
real soup. And of course, I had already done roasted tomato basil soup. It was a little peppery, but like I told him, it was just a little half pint that was left. So we got everything that was left in the pan. You know, you mix it while you're filling your jars, but so anyway, it got a little peppery. I finished it, it's okay. It didn't go to waste.
I was going to say, it would never go to waste in your home.
No, never, ever. Yeah, that's a given. You know, we just enjoy all of it. You know, but he's particular about the kinds of foods he likes.
I see the soda crackers sitting over there. They look like they need to have something on them.
Well, then let's do some taste testing.
Okay, now this is the one that you added. I'm just going to put a little bit right here. The flavors keep changing in your mouth. It isn't flat. Okay, I'm going to have this one now. I love the green, the color.
Yeah,
of this
it's
one.
bright green. Is that really good?
They're both good. I think this one's my favorite.
Yeah, you've been going after that. So,
Okay, we're missing something.
yes.
And that's a little, oh,
And then we'll wrap it up.
look at that.
Now this one might be a little vinegary.
Oh, this is great. I think what's missing is a glass of wine.
And now's a great time for a Pinot Grigio or a Sauvignon Blanc, or a nice light white wine,
Yeah.
or even a rosé.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, that's it for today, folks. I want to thank Marion for jumping in at the last minute and sharing this time with me and talking about food and entertaining and everything else.
Well, this was fun. I hope you bring me back for
Well,
more tastings.
of course. Join me next month, and I think we're probably going to start talking autumn foods. So, which will be a lot of fun. Remember, we're nonprofit. Donate, subscribe, help us, and we'll see you next time. Bye.